Hi, my name is Justin Odisho. Welcome back to my book club playlist where I talk about books. And today we're going to be talking about On the Shortness of Life by Seneca, ancient, famous for his Stoic philosophy. But this is a short little collection. It's like an essay that he wrote to I believe a relative or a friend who was a higher up official, kind of in an important office in agriculture or something of the sort, urging him to retire almost, and just kind of making arguments on that life is short for many people because we waste it all. However, it can be long enough if we properly use it. That's his argument case. I also kind of want to rant about this. The reason I picked this today is because value and time is something that I think about a lot. And the older I get, I'm no longer in my early 20s, the more life experiences you have, the more you see times where you wasted time. And no matter how many hundreds of times you've heard people say life is short or time is valuable, we'll never really truly grasp this concept by someone telling it to us. It's something that we have to come to the realization of one day. I mean, when you're a kid, you think you're never going to die. You think you're invincible. But one day you come to the realization that you're not going to live forever. And you could spend your whole life and still not really truly understand the value of it, I think, because, we never, as they say, I think there's a saying, youth is wasted on the young. And I'm still quite a young man myself, and you never truly understand. It's almost impossible to understand certain concepts. Like, I don't know what it's like to be an old man. And I never will until I'm there. And then when I'm there, I'll have realized how to have lived it properly. But it's too late, because time is an interesting concept in that way, in that it simply moves forward. I was looking through my notes the other day, and there's this popular concept in marketing known as A/B testing. You put out two different advertisements and you have something different about them. You can kind of control, and you can test A or B, which one did better. But I always thought there's never any true A/B testing in life, because you can never split the time track. You can only be going linearly forward. So you can't A/B test. And there's also another famous saying, I think it was a Greek person, I forgot who, but you never do the same thing twice, or like there's never the same moment twice, because like I think it's a man never enters the same river twice, because either the man is different or the river is different. Something like that. I butchered it. Someone say it in the comments. Let's actually get into something Seneca said, though I'll continue to rant. But I have some parts noted that I liked. I've read this a couple times over, every once in a while. I kind of forgot about it until I had these thoughts. But here's a really good passage. Men do not suffer anyone to seize their estates, and they rush to stones and arms if there's even the slightest dispute about the limits of their land, yet they allow others to trespass upon their life. Nay, they themselves even lead in those who will eventually possess it. No one is found who is willing to distribute his money, yet among how many does each one of us distribute his life? In guarding their fortune, men are often close-fisted, yet when it comes to the matter of wasting time, in this case, of the one thing it is right to be miserly, they show themselves to be most prodigal. So basically saying how cheap we are with our money and our possessions, because that's kind of like a proxy for the store of the value of our time. Yet how not cheap we are, how willingly we throw away time, which is infinitely more valuable. And this is it's so hard to express in words. You can hammer it into your head. Here I am wasting. I mean, there's another point in this book that says, like, time is going to go by no matter what you do with it, whether you seize the day or not. And it does pose this problem, which Seneca offers the solution to, which we'll get to. But another thing that I think ties into that is men trifle with the most precious thing in the world, but they are blind to it because it is an incorporeal thing, because it does not come beneath the sight of the eyes, and for this reason is counted a very cheap thing, nay, of almost no value at all. That's another really important point. Like, time is this abstract thing. It's incorporeal. It doesn't have a physical body that you can touch. And so we don't really know how to value it. And even getting into money, like if you're into like cryptocurrencies and all, or gold versus dollar versus paper dollars, it's a very interesting concept as well. Like, what is money? How do we value? How do we store the work that we do every day? How do we store that value? That's a whole nother topic, but it's all kind of revolving around the same things. And I don't have the answer for you. The answer that Seneca proposes is by living a more examined life, as Socrates says. He says that one should not like spend all their time in social duties, all their time in work, in drinking, in like lustful activities or whatever else, trivial things. He splits things into like trivial pursuits, but one should spend their time on philosophy or philosophical pursuits. Hello, spider. There's a spider. He says that life is long enough for that person which retires to thinking about greater things. In my opinion, I would say, I mean, how do you not regret the end of your life is enjoy your life, do things that, stop waiting to live, like, oh, I'm going to live when I'm retired, but start living as soon as possible, or as best as you can as soon as possible. Like in my life, not doing things, like even recording this video and posting it to YouTube. I wouldn't dream of doing this. I'm even afraid that someone's gonna walk. I'm over here in the middle of who knows where, but I'm afraid someone's gonna walk in and see me doing this. Still, yet if I truly valued and understood how short life was, I wouldn't ever not do something for the sake of that fear, or for the sake of that. And I think that's one aspect of living a better life, is doing everything you want, not in a hedonistic way, but like not leaving anything undone or unsaid that you wanted to do, because you only are here once. And I do agree with Seneca in that you should also turn your thoughts to more larger questions. Like, so much of life can be, I truly think someone can live their whole life if, as they say in the rat race, they call it, if you never find a way to escape, or if somehow life is unfortunate to you and you live your whole life in kind of like a grind and a wheel, and never have a chance beyond your basic needs till you get to the end of your life, and it's just gone in like pure maintenance. Your whole life was spent in maintenance and pursuit of obligations. And also, boy, I'm rambling. Also, like, I have experience with accumulating a moderate notoriety on this. Is notoriety the right word? Some sort of internet fame here, and the more and more successful you become, like for my example, like when my channel was getting millions of views a month, and it still gets a good amount of views, but the more stuff comes in your email, the more people want to message you, the more people want to ask you to be on their podcast and ask you to collaborate and this and that. And I imagine that those super famous people like The Rock or somebody are probably on one hand living a great and fulfilling life and doing everything, but also could fall into the trap of just having their whole life obligated away to the point where they wake up one day and where did it go? I think Drake has a line in one of his new songs. We're really spanning cultures here. About like the last 8 years went by in a blink, like where did it go? Like he's just been working. But as Seneca says, whether you seize the day or not, it's going to go by. And one thing that he proposes as well is that, which is kind of antithetical to a lot of the stuff you hear in certain philosophies, like be in the now, be present to the moment. I find it interesting. I do kind of see the value in it. He says that the now is like always gone, like it's gone, it's gone, it's gone. Here it is, it's gone. But the past and our memories is something that we have forever, and we can hold on to them forever. So make good memories, and you can always have them. And also, he suggests that if you use the whole of time, the past, the present, and the future, you keep all of it in mind and within use, that's one way to live a longer life rather than the now, which is just always infinitely gone, which is kind of like opposite to those people who preach presence. But I get what he's saying. You know, obviously, I mean, another thing he says is people who are constantly reading this and that and they're never focused on one thing. Kind of could be like this book club here, but I think there's many things that can be true and yet opposite. I mean, you have to apply context. But yeah, this thin little volume is an interesting reminder to read often. I had forgotten about it, but it's interesting to read every once in a while, just on the shortness of life, and to think about how we can make it longer. Or not how to make it longer, but how we can use what we have and make that be long enough for a good life, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, thanks for watching. I will leave links to my other book reviews in this playlist. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I think this is my longest video yet for the shortest book yet. I'll see you guys in the next one.